meet someone that's so iconic and radiant that literally their beauty like slaps you across the face? That's how I feel about my guest tonight. She's a 3-time Emmy-nominated actor. You know her from Promising Young Woman and Orange is the New Black. Please welcome Laverne Cox. Sorry, Simone. What's up? Wait, are you wearing gloves?
I'm wearing gloves, yes. I wear gloves often on my Zoom calls, yes.
I just feel like you are everything, and this background is proving my point, and you just are so radiant. Where are you right now? You at home?
I'm actually in my closet, but for a year I've been shooting videos and doing Zooms from my closet. I thought I would add a little backdrop.
You are serving all the things. It's funny you bring up your closet because I was stalking you as I do. Tell me all the things about your closet. Did you go through like a custom closet journey?
I live in a condo in LA, and when I moved in, I recently got a quote from my contractor that was insane. And I was like, wait a minute, there's people who specialize in closets. So I started doing all this research, and I found this woman named Lisa Adams, who has a company called LA Closet Design. Mm-hmm. And I saw she'd done Kris Jenner's closet, Tyra Banks, all these like really famous people, and the closets were fabulous. So I like emailed her and I reached out, and then I kept doing research and found out how much she charges. And I was like, oh, I don't have Kris Jenner money. She calls me bright and early Monday morning, and then she offered to design the closet, like do a 3D rendering and design it. And she was like, you could take it someplace else. And I took her rendering to Closet Factory, and they were able to deliver, once we decided on all the finishes, they were able to deliver in like 2 or 3 weeks, installed in 5 days, and boom. Custom closet at a discount, and it's like my mini starter glam room closet Hollywood fantasy.
I love that. That's what's up. It's all about the discounts.
I love a discount.
All on a budget. So wait, I imagine your closet's like super fabulous. It's got the lights, it's got the fans. If you were to go on like a Zoom date, would you do it from your closet?
The lighting's already set up.
Do your dates people ever wonder why you're in the closet?
Sometimes the guys would recognize me from TV or whatever. Sometimes they wouldn't. But can I tell you, I would meet the guys on Tinder, Hinge, whatever, and they would have their profile page. And the great thing about doing like a video chat right away is you can see if they look like their picture. So I would see their pictures and they'd be hot in their pictures, and then we would get on Zoom and they would have these beards, these quarantine beards, these Grizzly Adam beards. And I had a moment last year and I was just like, okay, I know there's a pandemic and we're quarantined, but like razors were still available. Toilet paper wasn't, but like razors were still available. And guys just like thought it was this excuse to like just go full like, Santa Claus or something. I don't know.
I actually will say that I don't mind a beard. I like beards.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I like beards. Now, Laverne, I have to tell you, I spend quarantine binging a lot of things. I recently watched Promising Young Woman. I loved it so much. I thought it was so unapologetic, so vulnerable, and so just real.
When I read the script, I was like, oh my God, this could potentially be the quintessential post-Me Too film. It's brilliant. I need to just be in this. I don't care how big the part is. And I met with our director, Emerald, and she said, yeah, come on board. And we had the best time shooting film.
So in the experience of shooting the movie, I heard there was a little bit of chaos around a certain scene.
There was no chaos. It was amazing. Emerald wrote an extra scene for my character Gail that she thought was sort of, give us a new dimension for the character. There was only one day that we could shoot the scene. And at the time, I had been asked by GLAAD to join a few people on stage to give Beyonce and Jay-Z an award. I think it was the Vanguard Award, the GLAAD Awards. And so, most people know that I'm obsessed with Beyonce. And I was like, well, of course I will go and present Beyonce an award. But the award, we were shooting the same night. This is the only night we can shoot this scene because of location, and it's a low budget film. And so instead of presenting Beyonce and Jay-Z with an award, I chose the scene over Beyonce. I hope she can forgive me. It was a very difficult decision.
No, for real.
But I always choose my art and my work over everything else.
I have anxiety just hearing the story because I can imagine being in that predicament. I mean, you got so much going on. Not only did you have Promising Young Woman, but you also have a podcast. Now, the Laverne Cox Show. Tell me about that.
Podcast is so much work, but it's been really amazing, fulfilling work. It's called The Laverne Cox Show, so it's really anything I want it to be. But I decided I wanted to have intimate conversations with people that I can learn from.
Who would be like your dream guest to have?
Gosh, A lot of it's less about the people and it's more about the level of conversation. So anyone who can teach me something or I can learn from, I mean, I would love to sit down and have a conversation with Oprah, for example. She's been a huge teacher for me. She probably wouldn't do my podcast. So yeah.
Never say never, come on.
Never say never. But I just am in this space and I've been saying I want to have a spiritual makeover. And that's really, I've learned so much. I was listening to the latest episode with Alok, who I know was on your show recently.
Amazing.
And I was taking notes. That for me is like the gauge of like where I want to be in terms of the kinds of conversations we're having on the show.
That's wonderful. You mentioned spiritual makeover. I want to dive into that for a second. You know, I feel like 2020 was a time of reflection where people were forced to really look at themselves, their priorities. Moving forward, what is something in life that you want less of?
Oh my gosh, I want less stress. I want way less stress. I want to be able to have this big life that I've manifested without sort of being stressed out about it. I want to be able to fully enjoy it.
100%. I totally relate to that because I feel like I also would like less. Who wouldn't want less stress? I feel like I want less stress. I hope you're enjoying season 2 of A Little Late with Lilly Singh. If you're not sick of this face yet, go ahead and click subscribe right over there. Check out more clips just like this one right over there. More importantly, have a great day. Bye!